Welcome to the Business Boys Talkin-Business Virtual Power Lunch. Please welcome your hosts, Tyler Price and Brian Magleby.
Hey, I am Tyler Price, and this is not Brian Magleby.
No.
No.
I'm Amy Romero.
Yeah. So Amy owns Mrs. Powell's here locally, 3 locations in Idaho Falls, Rigby, Rexburg, and is a friend. So when Brian said, "Oh, I'm not gonna be there," I bugged Amy since we had you on the show recently anyway.
Yeah,
So
it was super fun.
it was the most viewed show we've ever had.
Are you serious?
7 people, but yes. No, just teasing. We get more than 7 people.
Like 8.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, good. Well, last week we talked a little bit about numbers, and this is the season, right? Taxes are due, or were due. Hopefully they're turned in by now.
Yeah, it's painful.
It is a painful process, isn't it?
But you got to do it.
Yeah. And we had Jared Blackham, who is a CFO for hire. If you're looking for somebody, I would recommend at least getting a consult with him. He does know his stuff and does a great job. And if you were to hire a CFO, you could be as high as $120,000 a year. Jared's services are less than that. So,
that's great.
And numbers matter. We should run our business based off of our numbers and not just our
Big
gut.
time. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to follow the gut, though, right?
Well, you do, but you really need to know your numbers to follow that instinct. Yeah.
We need to know how much a cinnamon roll costs order to sell that cinnamon roll.
Because if you sell it for less,
yeah,
then
that's
you're just
not
losing
good.
money.
But people like you.
They love you, don't
You're
they?
Anyway. But we've got, and you lined up today, right? Tell us a little bit about who we have on the show today.
I'm really excited for this. We have Becca Madsen, and she is the owner and a franchisor. Talk about that, of the FizzBiz. So you may have seen her shops. She's got them in Idaho Falls, Ammon, and Rigby, and more to come. And we're just real excited to get to talk to her today.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. In fact, I had a text message this morning from her saying, "What's your poison?" And it's vanilla Coke, if anyone's wondering. And this beautiful cup here, I'll be drinking from while we talk, so you'll hear me gulping and stuff like that. So that'll be great.
I feel like I'm going to finish this whole thing while we're talking.
Keeping me hydrated. Appreciate that, Becca. So we want to thank our sponsors. They make this thing happen. BBSI is great. Really can't speak highly, or can't say enough good things about BBSI.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Helping with payroll, helping with staffing, helping with business strategy, helping with exit strategies, helping with planning for exit strategies. I mean, they just have a great group of talented people that have helped a lot of, not just locally, even though they're local people, this is a global business, but BBSI really, they have the secret sauce to that. So.
Yeah, for sure.
SBDC, which I believe is the best kept secret in all of Eastern Idaho, or all of Idaho, or probably United States for that matter. But the SBDC is an organization, if you're trying to start a business, or if you have a business and you're looking to expand, that has a lot of great free resources. There are some paid resources as well. But if you're starting a business, this is a great place to come in order to get help with setting up your LLC, looking at marketing strategies, and just getting another set of eyes on the business. The Idaho Innovation Center, which is Brian Magleby's the director of, and they do a lot of great things. Brian has a 95% success rate.
That's fantastic.
It's just,
where do you see that anywhere else?
I mean, the guy is a good control freak, not a bad control freak, but he holds people accountable. He holds me accountable. He holds, but the people that end up in the Idaho Innovation Center, there's a lot of coaching and resources that help them. That's why he's at a 95% of his tenants go on to continue to be successful businesses.
That's amazing.
Volpine Marketing with Ryan Jose. Ryan does some great things with marketing, obviously, and our website. And then Tyson, who lets us come into his living room.
Shout out Tyson.
And do this show. But Tyson, if you need things, like I was telling him, I need some help with a live video feed where I'll be doing an interview style into a group, and Tyson's the guy that's going to help me do that. And he's letting me pay him in pedicures, which he hasn't completely agreed to, but he hasn't said no.
I don't feel like there was a sign on the dotted line.
Yeah. But Tyson with New Line, if you're needing video, drone work, production, he does some great things with keeping us up to date and knowing what's happening with construction projects in Eastern Idaho. So again, I have a lot of great things to say about New Line Media as well. So with that, what should we do?
Well, we need to talk about Becca.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Talk to Becca.
Talk to Becca.
Yeah.
So we got a quick little video, and that will segue, and we're going to have Becca run up and jump on her seat, and then we're just going to talk. How's that?
This is East Idaho Eats with Natalia Hepworth.
On today's East Idaho Eats, I'm at the Idaho Falls Fizz Biz, where they're stirring up flavorful drinks and serving the sweet, salty, and creamy. I'm Natalia Hepworth here in Idaho Falls at Fizz Biz with the owner Becca Madsen. This is the second location of Fizz Biz, so tell me why you decided to add another location.
Well, we just have had so much success with our Rigby one, and we've had so many of our loyal followers who just keep asking us to come to Idaho Falls.
Tell me what you guys serve here.
So we serve the best custom sodas. We have flavor shots, we have cream shots, we have fruit puree shots.
So you said that the gelati is only offered at this location, is that right?
Yes, so if you want custard, you have to come here. Our Rigby shop's just a little too small, but this shop is great.
So I know that sodas and drink mixes and things like that are popular here in East Idaho. What sets Fizz Biz apart from other local soda shops?
I think our heart. We just pour our heart and soul into this business, and we make sure that all of our employees love our business as much as we do.
This is the Wicked Grin.
Wow, that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys started that, again, what year? You told me and I forgot.
2015.
2015. And what made you decide to say we're getting in the soda business?
Well, for me, it was I love soda,
Okay.
and
Me too.
I'm a daily drinker of soda. And I realized one day that our little community didn't have anything like this.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, man, I would buy this every day. And if I would buy this every day, I'm sure I have 10 or 20 friends who would probably buy this every day. And so we just thought it needed to come to Southeast Idaho.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I think so. I think it's I look at it and I jokingly said, oh, it's easy money. And it's not, right?
No.
I mean, there's a lot of
Is
hard
there any
work.
such thing as
There
easy
is no
money,
such
really?
thing. I do have an ongoing, hey, if you ever find easy money, please let me know. But it's hard work. But you looked at it. You must have. So you saw another soda shop, or where did the idea of saying, hey, let's open up Fizz Biz?
Yeah, we had traveled down to southern Utah and experienced one down there, and thought, man, this is a killer idea. We could totally expand on it, put our own twist on it, make it our own, come up with our own recipes, and run with it. And in the beginning, my husband thought it would be kind of like a snow shack. Like, we'll just run it during the summer and it'll be a fun little summer gig. And we realized very quickly
So
that
beyond
it was definitely not. It was a full-time business year round. So.
But you have taken it, and jump in anytime, because I
will. Don't
tend
worry.
to, yeah, I know. but you guys have taken it, because you do see some of the models that maybe were first to market in our area that are more in a shack. You guys have chosen to go the brick and mortar route. Why did you choose that route over what maybe might be a cheaper tenant improvement or a cheaper capital outlay anyway?
Gotcha. Well, for us, we wanted to make sure that we were serving quality product and having indoor plumbing and running plumbing and a bathroom, and we get inspected by the health department at least once, if not more, every year. For us, we just felt like that was the safer route to go, that we're providing better quality products to people. I mean, Amy, you know, like when you're dealing with food, you can't joke with that. It could be a real serious
you gotta
thing.
know your temps, and you've got to know,
And you think it's just soda, but we do a lot of other things. I mean, you've got creams involved, and we serve food items, and so for us, it just makes sense to put it in a brick and mortar, and we don't have to worry about hauling in water and just all of those other things that just don't appeal to us.
Well,
awesome.
and to that, you've mentioned you're doing other things. So you have the soda, because there's some places that soda's kind of where they focus on.
Right.
So what are some of the other things that you're offering to your clients?
So that's one thing about Fizz Biz that I think kind of sets us apart from most other soda shops, is in the beginning, we really were just a soda and cookie shop, and we did popcorn. And we just listened to our customers, and little by little, they were like, hey, can you add nachos? Hey, can you add hot dogs? Hey, can you add pretzels? And hey, we really love Italian ice and custard. And next thing you know, we have this full blown menu
Yeah.
of things that, complement a soda. And it's just helped drive our business. And for us, I feel like it capitalizes on a bigger market of customers, because you're not just getting the mom in the minivan who wants her Diet Coke. You now can get the kid a hot dog, and you can get the other kid an ice cream. And, you satisfy a lot of demands in one stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love some of the variation in your menu. So you see a lot of like we've said, there's a lot in the category. There's a lot of different places in your same category. However, my drink of choice today, at least, it's not carbonated. I love that you have the refreshers. So this is called the Pink Passion, and it's like the bomb. I drink one of
my
these at least 4 times a week.
Mine might be a daily thing.
Oh, Brian, I miss being there. Rock on, Tyler.
We will rock on. Thank you very much. So.
And my other favorite thing is the Mad Dog. Like, people, you've got to try.
What is a Mad Dog? Okay, we've got to have.
Okay, yeah. I love hot dogs. So
yes, it's a quarter beef, all beef hot dog, served with a pickle spear, banana peppers, and then we crunch up our Lay's potato chips, and then we have this special in-house sweet sauce that we make that we douse it with, and so you get a combination of like the warm hot dog, the cold pickle, the crunch of the peppers, the saltiness of the chips, and then this sweet sauce just tops it off. It's a little messy, but it's
worth
the mess.
So you need to put a few napkins down, because I get it in the car and I can't wait, so I'm eating it and it's falling all over me.
Yep. Yeah. And we serve it with a fork, so you can pick up all the little morsels.
I use my hand.
So you did like crunching numbers. You worked at H&R Block helping people do their taxes.
Yeah.
So where did the culinary, because it is more than just pairing soda flavors, you're pairing crunchy with soft, with spicy, with all these things, that there is an art to that. So where did that background, or was that just, hey, let's figure it out?
Let's just figure it out. It was one of those things. I'm not like Amy that had a love of baking.
Wait a second.
But
go ahead.
No, you can go. I am very, very particular. I have a very strong palate, and I know what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, maybe I have higher standards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, talk a little bit about your cookie recipes, because
Amy knows.
Right?
So Amy is our baker. She bakes all of our cookies. Mrs. Palace has been our baker since day one, which has been awesome.
These are not my recipes.
No, so these are recipes that I tried in my own kitchen. I can't even tell you how many times we tried recipes until we finally got the right one. And then we went to Mrs. Powell's and had them be our wholesale baker, and they can't sell our recipes. They can't make them in their own shop. They can't sell them to other soda shops.
Do I eat one sometimes? Because they get one extra? Yes, I do.
We'll let it slide. Yeah. But, and I know Amy and I are on the same page when it comes to baking. Like, I only use butter.
Yeah.
Because I just think it tastes better, and margarine is gross.
Yep.
And I know I could save. I could have better profit margins if I went that route. But for me, I feel like it's a superior cookie, and that's what I want to provide to my customers.
Yeah. No, and I think people will see that, right? I mean, it's like if it's all about the margin only, you have these big corporations that take the heart out of a lot of industries.
Right.
And the second that it becomes just about the dollar, although we still got to make it profitable. So how do you then look at it and say, okay, I'm keeping butter, and butter prices did they go through the roof? I know cream prices, because I like to make ice cream.
They kind of do this. Sometimes they come down and you're like, oh, and then they go right back up. And it's hard to predict.
So then you just have to hold fast to, I'm not here to please everybody. I'm here to let people that enjoy the experience.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want a cheap cookie made with margarine, you could probably go to a grocery store and buy one somewhere.
Buy it right out of a package. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which I guess it's okay. It has its place.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have their place, but
it's not in front of me.
Yeah.
That's not its place.
So we got a couple foodie snobs that are, but these good, cool ladies. But
proudly snobby.
So when you started it, what did you feel like you were gonna get out of it? Just were you going one location, or when you looked at this place down in southern Utah, you said, we can do better than these guys, and we're going to come back, we're going to put our name to it, we're going to put our spin on it. But what was the big vision to it all?
So for me, from day one, I've always told my husband, I said, I want FizzBiz to be the soda shop of Southeast Idaho. That was kind of my original vision. And my husband, Jeremy, we joke all the time that I'm the gas and he's the brakes. He's the very logical one, and I'm the very excited, let's do this right now, whether it makes sense or not. And so we make a good team there. And so our growth has maybe been a little slower than maybe other soda shops in the area, but for us it's more strategic and making sure we're going into the right markets and that everything makes sense, right? And that you're not just throwing out locations in little
So you're
barns
paying
or
attention
shops.
to your foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then, but in the beginning, was it, oh, we're just going to try this and do one shop, and then, but it quickly evolved into something
it
quite
quickly
big.
escalated. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my husband, like I said in the beginning, he thought it would just be like a summer gig.
Yeah.
And within the first 2 weeks, we were like, oh no, this is a full-blown
Fantastic.
machine. Yeah. So, and it's just kind of gone from there. We've had a few name changes in the beginning. And at one point,
what was it named beginning?
well, the first name for all the originals that would know, it's called the Soda Pop Stop.
Soda Pop Stop. That's a sentence, but yes.
Yep.
Okay, Soda Pop
And
Stop.
people would just shorten and say it was the Pop Stop.
Yeah.
And you still get some people, they're like, I'm going to the Pop Stop. And then we
Yeah.
know, oh, you've been around since
You've
the
been
beginning.
around.
Yeah.
We like you.
Yep. You're loyal. And then we changed it for a brief moment to the Rigby Rush
Okay.
because we were just in Rigby.
Right.
And then not long after we changed it to Rigby Rush, we realized, no, we want to expand.
Right.
And we couldn't use that name to expand. So then that's when FizzBiz was born.
Yeah.
And it's been FizzBiz ever since.
And it's hard to come up with a name.
Oh, it is.
Well, tell us that process, because I mean, you think that you should just be able to come up with a name, but
Great.
But yeah, why is it hard to come up with a name?
Because everybody else has come up with the
Everybody
same
else
name already, and then they trademark it, and then you get threatened to be sued if you don't stop using their name.
Yeah.
Great. That's
It's
fun.
a crazy, There's just there's people that went out and just bought names and they're not doing
Just
anything
to
with
do,
them.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's where entrepreneurs come with fun names to spell things. Like FizzBiz is spelled interesting, right?
Right.
I think
It has to have a unique twist
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get going. So the first one was in Rigby, and where was that one?
It was a small little building that we found. It was probably not more than
Oh, super tiny.
500 square feet.
Oh wow!
And
Yeah.
we weren't able to expand our menu very well there.
Yeah.
And so after about 3 years being in that location, we expanded into Idaho Falls. That was grand to have a big location. We consider 1,200 square feet big because it
Wow.
was more
Yeah.
than double.
Yeah.
And then we realized that the Rigby location needed to grow. And so we found a location on the other side of Rigby, but let's be honest, Rigby doesn't have another side.
There's another side.
It's less than a minute away from the original location. But yeah, we found that one, and it's like 1,800 square feet, and it's just dreamy. There's lots of room, and that's drive-through, of course.
So did the first one have a drive-through? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they all have to.
So then you're going to keep the two in Rigby then, because
No, we left that
Okay.
location and we moved.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Now I get it. Okay. All right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
And then people started saying, "Hey, this is a cool idea," and you and your husband were consulting people to start their own business.
Yeah. So right from the get-go, we got hit up all the time about, hey, I want to start a soda shop. Everybody thinks a soda shop is so
It's
easy to start.
right? And it's got to be easy, right?
Right, like you're just mixing soda.
right?
Yeah. And so I just chuckle because people are like, well, it can't be that hard. I'm like, well, okay.
Compared to what? Yeah.
Right. I'm like, what are you talking about? So we started consulting
Yeah.
in the beginning, and we did that for a few years. We helped a few different people get established in outside states,
Right.
not within
Not
our
within-
local
Yeah.
area. And then one day we just decided that it was time to franchise. We had enough interest in our local area that we decided we needed more FizzBizzes. And for me, 3 corporate locations is about max for me
Right.
to run and feel like I have a good balance in my life. And then starting a franchise on top of that. And so it just made sense to franchise, because if I want FizzBiz to be the soda shop of Southeast Idaho, I can't do it myself. I
Right.
can't
Yeah, you have to have
corporately
partners,
own,
yeah.
15, 20 locations.
Right.
And, so that's where franchising stepped in and helped us.
And so that's an easy process. She has easy money. She's
us
doing
about that
everything's
easy
easy for
money.
Becca. Easy. Becca
Yeah.
Easy Madsen's gonna be.
Right.
Oh, that sounds terrible now that I
Yeah,
said.
maybe
I just
don't
said
go
that.
with that
Her
one.
husband's gonna beat the tar out of me for saying it. Anyway, but it's nothing's easy. I just turned red after I just. Oh my gosh. But anyway, but nothing's easy, and so you
Right.
chose this franchise route. What does that even look like?
A lot of legal fees.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to do a lot of research, find, in my opinion, anytime I want to do something, I'm trying to find the best qualified person to help me with that, especially where I know my strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I obviously knew nothing about franchising. I know FizBiz in and out, backwards, upside down, but franchising, I knew, little.
Right.
And so we did a bunch of research. We found an attorney in New York that is all they do is they help
franchises.
franchise.
Yep.
We had a consultation with him. He looked at our business very thoroughly and said, yes, you have a very franchisable business.
Yeah.
I think this would be a good move for you. I personally have had to do a lot of research and learning and reading and hiring the right people to help me in that business.
Yeah.
So it came with a lot more work.
Yeah.
A good little price tag.
Yeah.
Price tag.
Yeah.
Yep, there's
That's
definitely
great.
a price
Especially
tag.
when you said New York, I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
New York rates.
yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, we had to have a franchise manual,
Yeah.
which basically is like A to Z, how to start a FizBiz, how to run a FizBiz. And Amy and I had a conversation last week about that. And I don't write books. It's just like a book. I mean, I know my business, but
Yeah.
to write a
Yeah.
15 chapter book on my business, I
Right.
just don't have
Months,
time
that
for.
would be-
Yeah. So we had to hire somebody who specializes just in that, and he was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we had to hire a franchise development team that they've been super beneficial, just a huge asset, helping me learn the business. I call her all the time. I'm like, hey, Danielle,
Yeah.
what do I do about this? Talks me off the ledge.
So are you finding that there's issues that you're constantly like, oh, I didn't think of that, or I didn't think of that, or have these people kind of shepherded you through all of the hoops that you need to jump through?
They've definitely been there at every step helping. There have been a few things that, didn't even realize that would be an issue that we just have to work through and talk through and figure it out. But for the most part, I mean, we've done it.
Yeah.
You've been on the right team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think,
Fantastic.
and that kind of speaks to because we always ask people for a quote, and your quote is do or just do it.
Just
or
do it.
Just
Yeah.
do
Do
it.
it.
So you've done it, right?
Yeah.
And it's come from and your husband Jeremy. I haven't met him yet, but
Yeah.
I owe him an apology. So anyway, but you and Jeremy sitting in southern Utah saying we could
We could do this.
enjoying a drink and just saying, oh, we could do this. But then you really did it.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that say, oh, I could do that, right?
Well, and that's funny because we probably for the first 3 years in business, I had so many people come through. I thought about starting a soda
Yes.
shop.
Yeah. Then
Cool.
do it.
Did you do it?
Did you do
Yeah.
it?
Did you do it?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So we just did it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing is we made this decision in June
Yeah.
that we were going to do this. We came home and by the end of July, we had a location, we had a name, we had a menu, we had, some vendors, we had recipes, and we just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even think. We just were like, nope, we're doing it. Let's just make it happen.
Boy, and that's what it takes. My wife and I were living in Salt Lake, and she was running cosmetology schools, and we were broke.
Yeah.
And she just came home and said, we got to have our own school. 9 months from when she said that, our school was open, and we were broke.
Wow.
And
just
now
do
we're
it.
okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I subscribe to the just do it because
Yeah.
think about it, and then when someone does it, that grates on my nerves. Oh, I thought about doing that. It's like,
Right.
oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, because there's a lot of things like, like sometimes I question myself, like, who am I to think that I can run a multi-level,
yeah.
franchise
Yeah.
and have lots of businesses out there? And I just think, well, I just did it.
Yeah.
I make it work. Just do
Yeah.
it.
Amy's talked
Yeah.
about imposter syndrome before. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that.
Yeah, it's real. And I think it's unfortunate, but I think if you just jump in, you kind of get over that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much work to do that you're like,
I just got to do it. I'll just
figure
figure it out,
Right.
right? And if I
Yeah.
can't figure it out, there's somebody who can help me figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just make it work.
So when did the franchise thing, because even to do a franchise, you have to have all this stuff done.
Right.
You don't just get to say, oh, I'm selling franchises.
Right.
today.
And then tomorrow just
Right.
take people's money.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
work that way.
So,
There's a lot of legal
so
stuff.
when did that all get finalized to where you could even offer?
I believe we officially launched franchising in August.
Okay.
Is when we were allowed to tell people that we were doing it, and be able to send out franchise disclosure documents to people and start answering questions. And
And so since then, how do you even market that? Like how do you attract people and you've sold it, a couple of them, then it sounds like a handful of them.
So I'm actually coached to tell you that we don't sell franchises.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, thank you.
You award franchises. You don't go into like the DMV and buy a driver's license.
Right.
You have to be awarded it. I mean, there's fees associated with it, but you have to be awarded one.
Yeah.
So that's the first misconception. Everybody's like, "Oh, how many have you sold?" I'm like, "Well, technically, I've awarded them."
Yeah.
So that's a little education that I've learned.
I'm glad I got
Choice matters.
that education.
Yeah.
Because there is some betting involved. Right?
Yeah, for sure. You have to be qualified. There's, I have to like you. I have to feel like that I feel like you know what FizzBiz is and that you're not just.
Like I'm not going to go rogue and say
Yeah.
I'm doing whatever I want.
Right.
Your name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a two-way process. They kind of told me in the beginning that franchising is a little bit like a relationship, like you date and then you decide if you like each other and then you get married because technically you're in business together.
But then you can't divorce. Or can you?
Well,
I don't know.
not at least for 10 years.
Yes, yeah.
That's how long your term is for,
Yeah.
10 years. So, yeah.
Happily married for 32 years, by the way, just so everybody knows. So, anyway.
Good job.
So, well, no, and I find this whole process pretty interesting, and it all happened by just getting a drink in Southern Utah, and two of you then just doing it, and now here we are.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you do that, when you award it, and I do thank you for educating me on that, because you want them to be successful as much as they want to be successful because of the brand name, because we care about people going out and being successful.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I mean, this FizzBiz is coming on its 7-year anniversary, and I want people to have the same experience at every FizzBiz, right? I mean, that's the whole concept of a franchise, is knowing that you're going to have the same experience, the same pink passion, no matter what location you go to. It's made the same. And so the reputation of the brand is very critical, and that's why it's really important that you franchise to the right people and that you make sure that they're qualified and they're vetted and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I look at it, so your employee that's working at your facilities, right, are probably younger kids. Is that right or wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. I get asked all the time, like right now everybody says that the job market is so hard. Like it's so hard to find employees. And I think that's probably one of the biggest concerns when I get people who come to me wanting to inquire about a franchise is, well, do you have a hard time finding employees? And for us, it's a perfect little niche in society, because I would say probably 75% of our staff is high school kids or college kids, right? And it's a fun environment. It's not hard. You're not slinging greasy cheeseburgers and greasy French fries, or, I mean, it's a fun environment. I mean, the most you have to do is fix the Mad Dogs. So,
and then hand it to them and they can deal with the mess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do look at that, because I think the young kids get a bad rap. They do. And they are who they are.
Right.
But when I was a young kid, substitute teachers used to say, I am really concerned about the future of the United States of America because of this class right now, right? But tell us about your experience with the youth because they make it run.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we definitely have our key managers and our day adult people that help run the actual business of it. But for me, I felt like it was just a natural role for me to step into. I just love teenagers. I don't know. I relate to them. I mean, they probably think that I'm old and out of date, but I love to go in and get to know my employees and ask them about their life and tease them a little bit and laugh and joke. And I don't know, sometimes I'll do dumb things and you have to roll your eyes and, maybe get after them a little bit. But for the most part, they're good kids and they're fun.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Yeah.
Here's something interesting. When I was at the gym this morning, they were having a whole debate on the average income of a college graduate less than $30,000 a year. So if you can talk to a FizzBiz kid and you can mentor them, because guess what? You and your husband, Jeremy, have figured out how to be successful. What's better for them? And be honest in your answer, going to college or opening their own FizzBiz?
Well, if you ask my 15-year-old son,
Yeah.
he has already profusely told us that he's not going to college because he wants to own a FizzBiz.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And
There you
it's
go.
hard because part of me is like, "Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you really should get an education. There is value behind an education." But in the same stance, like I can't argue with that
Yeah.
because, I mean, my husband doesn't have a college degree. I only have an associate's degree, and so I can't say that we're this.
And look at you here killing it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Without the,
So it's hard because
Yeah.
the
I think it
higher
depends on.
education,
Yeah, there's value in both.
Yeah.
I just truly think it comes down to personality, drive, work ethic, all of those things factor into it. My husband couldn't do school because he would fall asleep in every class.
Yeah.
He's a hands-on kind of person
That's
and he
me.
couldn't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so depending on your personality, I think depends on which route you take in life. I would say that I would 100% always want to own my own business.
Right.
For me, it's given me freedom. I love being able to create. I love having something that I can claim as my own. I mean, there's a sense of pride in that.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
So-
I think it's great that the kids, and hopefully they appreciate working there, that they get to have that interaction, because that inspiration of because I didn't fit in on a scholastic level. I did graduate from college. I don't know why I went to college. I won't even tell you what my degree is in. It's not embarrassing, but I did graduate. What? No, it was better than that.
No,
Not
it
by
was better
much,
than that.
but anyway, geography and Japanese, just to throw it
Whoa.
out there. Yeah.
Okay.
wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
Point out Ukraine on a
Yeah.
map.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, great.
But
Super
the
helpful.
fact that you get to, like, hopefully they appreciate that and can see that inspiration, because I think a lot of them get up against, what am I going to do? And they look on social media and see, well, everyone else's life is great and mine sucks.
Yeah.
So anyway, to the kids out there, this is a franchise that smells a lot like work, but that can be very successful. And whether it's FizzBiz or whether it's Mrs. Powell's or whether it's the beauty space, if you're willing to put in the effort, and might as well enjoy what you do, right? But there is a place for college too. I don't want to discredit college.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of have to go into it with a plan.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
And I also, during COVID, I looked at how Chick-fil-A ran their business with a bunch of college kids. And to me, it's like, well, those kids should be running the nation, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So what did you see, though, during that kind of time? Were people coming into the shop, or what kind of happened during COVID for you guys?
So we had to close our dining room area. That's another reason I love having a brick and mortar, because we do have some dining area space, which is fun for families or kids to come into and hang out. Unfortunately, during COVID, we had to shut our doors, but fortunately enough, we had a drive-through business, and sometimes I feel a little guilty saying this, but our business probably increased by 20% through COVID.
Yeah.
We were getting all sorts of new customers that had never come through, because I don't know why, but all of a sudden we were the happening place to go to.
Yeah.
Because it was the only, maybe it was their only experience of the whole day where they got to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember so many moms coming through in their minivans being like, I need a break from my house. This was the bribery for school to get their schoolwork done, that if you would just get your work done, then we would go get a FizzBiz. She's like, and then I get to see somebody that's an adult and talk to them.
Even if it's just a
Yeah, even if it's only for 2 or 3 minutes in the drive-thru, it was like the highlight of their day.
Yeah.
So it was fun for us. It was very challenging, just to keep up with the demand of everything.
Yeah.
But
and I'm sure you had supply chain.
Oh, yeah.
That you had to work
all sorts
around.
of things that were just keep me hopping and on my toes. Yeah.
There was one thing I wanted to come back to. Okay, so you have this franchise thing all figured out. There are states and
If you like, yes.
Enough.
This award system.
That's
we got
right.
The award system figured out. But then you go into a state, and there are places in California, for instance, that won't let you have a straw, or they have something weird.
Or you have to have a paper straw or something.
And then I think there's even places in New York that you can't. They ban soda. So,
Right, they tax it.
or they tax it at a higher rate.
Certain,
I mean, I guess that's just all kind of. But is
yeah.
that things that have been addressed or looked at? I mean, that's kind of a weird question, but you have reasonable Idaho. I think I'll just say the rest of the United States, we are reasonable here.
Yeah.
And then you got some places that are not so reasonable.
Yep.
So how do you address that?
So the very first thing with franchising is there's certain states that require higher stipulations to be able to franchise into those states.
Okay.
There's about 13 of them. And for the beginning, like a new franchise like me, we just don't even touch them.
Yeah.
So we just say, no, let's just stick to the ones that are all within, a certain radius of me, and the ones that are doable, like California is a really crazy one,
Yeah.
and so we won't be going into California until we've tested the water further towards the West Coast, so like, yeah, right now we're just focusing in on probably like the 4 states around us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of our game plan is I was advised that we should start in our inner circle and then work out. And then once we've got that established, then work out and just keep working out,
Right.
And so that's kind of what our game plan is.
Yeah.
We want to really make sure that we're growing smart and not just trying to get into a market and then running into
Just
issues like
grabbing
that.
market share and that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
great, interesting. I could talk forever, but we don't have forever to talk. So, but we are going to transition into some training and let the two of you, because you guys have way more kind of thought to this, because you do run Mrs. Pal's as though it could be a franchise. In fact, it was a franchise.
It was at one point.
Right?
It's not anymore.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. So, so those of you that are thinking of buying a franchise, or excuse me, being awarded a franchise, or thinking maybe, hey, I got a great idea and I'd like to franchise this. Well, let's talk a little bit about how should they run their business, because you've done it. You've been a part of something that's broke away and maybe even toyed with the idea. So I'm going to just scoot it right to you, and we can talk about this.
Well, one of the things that I've been thinking of, for this training topic is that I was recommended the book, The E-Myth. And so I haven't read all of it, but I have read enough of it to understand kind of where it's going. And it just talks about, if you have a business that isn't a franchise, what the advantages of running it like a franchise would be. And so one of the things that I've started on is my operations manual, and I expect it to be like this big. Maybe it won't be quite that big. Maybe it'll be like this big. It's the Oxford English Dictionary of Mrs. Powell. And so I started, we always have disruptions in business where you're okay. I can work on the computer. I can do things behind the scenes, and then you have to jump in and be part of the labor force. And then, so I've had this kind of back and forth, but what I got finished before I had to jump back in this most recent time is I had my baker manual done. And up to this point, I would like take a batch of dough and I could eyeball it, cut it, and I knew about this much, it would make this much. But to teach someone
then you gotta train someone that
and have them recreate what I've just done is really hard. And I had so many variations on what I had trained, what I had taught, that it was just like I was tearing my hair out. So I went down to the everything.
Basics.
You have to weigh out this much dough, and when you have this much dough, it should make this many pans. It should make this many dozen of this. And so now everything is prescribed. I've got this much butter, this much cinnamon sugar, this much whatever, this many scoops of this color of frosting on top, and everything's working so much better. Like, I've trained 3 new people, and they're all just getting it so easily.
It works.
They're very smart people.
Which helps too.
But they know exactly what I expect of them. And I think that's been the biggest thing that I've been like, mind blown. I need to do this for a lot more. And I plan to, but
The whole business.
it's nice to have kind of proof of concept. So, could you speak to some of that?
Absolutely. We had to do the exact same thing when we decided. I mean, we had a company handbook that I had written, and I soon realized that was not near expansive enough or detailed enough. I didn't have all the itty bitty down to the very ounce and ice and cups and we had it down pretty well, but when I sat down with our franchise manual developer, I realized, I have to do a lot more detailed stuff. It's very specific, like how we even greet customers coming in the door has to be written down.
That gives me a bullet point.
There you go. So they call this system standards. And so in a franchise, you have to make sure that you have all your system standards in place, and those are non-negotiables. So just like you said, like it has to have X, Y, and Z. That is a system standard to make it a Mrs. Powell cinnamon roll. So we had to go through and define all of the system standards in a FizBiz, and we have lots of things that need system standards, right? Like how we make our popcorn. how much oil we use versus how much salt we put in it, and how we prepare it. When people want butter in it, like little things that you think no big deal, like no, everything
has a
has
splash of extra, but
right.
yeah, no, that's
yeah. So every little detail had to be documented. Every recipe had to be priced out exactly, and you have to, and then other challenges, you have to make sure that your pricing is always updated. If you're in the world of buying food, everything fluctuates, so you have to constantly keep your thumb on what things cost, and
And how often do those fluctuations happen? You're both in that.
almost every time you order something.
Every day, or is it
almost every week.
Okay.
When my price is going to be, maybe it's 10 or 12 cents per bag of flour, but it
you have to know
often.
Like fresh limes just out of the blue in the last month have tripled to the point where I was like, oh my goodness, we are going to have a price increase on limes because they just tripled within 4 weeks.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, if I hadn't kept track of that and kept tabs on that, I would just
some of your profits away.
Yeah. So you have to be very on the ball with all those things too.
Yeah.
I kind of look at it as I want to put up, if using a bowling analogy, I want to put the bumpers up on the bowling alley, and I want that ball to hit the pins, and I want no distractions or
You've
as
watched me
few
bowl.
as possible. Yes, I have. Yeah. It was painful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. What other things are you seeing then because you're writing it to give better training to bakers first off.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But let's say that one day you decided to, hey, I could franchise this.
Sure.
Right? It has some of that in place, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with that. Is I want to be able to, and then maybe what if I wanted to step back a little bit and hire a general manager?
Yeah.
Then here's the binder. This is everything I do, and that person has all the answers. And if I can maybe just get a phone call and it can help me.
Yeah. Well, I like it how you mentioned, hey, this is how you greet people, because doesn't that just seem like, oh, that's a no-brainer? I don't even have to put that in there until the client walks in and isn't greeted. Right.
And you're like, oh, you didn't say welcome to FizzBiz.
Yeah.
I need to tell people to do this.
Yeah. Just things that you take for granted that you just assume people are going to catch on to, like employees. You see it, but if you don't actually tell them.
Yeah, common sense maybe isn't common, or maybe
right.
what's in my head is common sense isn't necessarily what's in everybody's head, right?
Well, no, and there's a whole business class I do in our academy that's talking about how and why. So there's the how we do it is this is how we greet someone. The why we do it, it's to a kid. I mean, they need to understand that person could be having a terrible day, and the fact that you recognize them and greeted them warmly could just make them feel like, hey, my day's not so bad.
Right.
So the why behind it becomes really powerful, and I think this generation of kids likes to know the why, and not just the how. So.
And they do their job so much better when they understand. Because I mean, we pride ourselves. We train all of our employees that we're serving happiness in a cup. That's our motto.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that every customer that leaves has a smile on their face, and that if we're the only bright spot in their entire day, at least they've had some form of happiness and positivity in their life.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we get quite a few good employees who will help with that. If they see somebody crying, like the other day, I had one of my good friends call me and said, hey, you have an employee there, cute little blonde gal. My daughter was in the back seat, just totally upset, and she bought her a cookie.
Oh, wow.
And just made her whole day.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know that. I'm like, good. I'm so glad they're doing their job.
Yeah. No, but that act of kindness, I mean, that becomes who they become because they understand the why behind it. So, anyway. Well, we probably have gone over, but this is cool, great stuff. FizzBiz, check it out, and grateful that it's been as successful as it's been. More than just a summertime deal.
Wait, we need to give this away.
Oh, yeah, there is this thing we got to give away. If
what was their motto?
Well, okay, there we go.
Oh,
if you know what FizzBiz's motto is, text it to Brian Magleby at whatever Brian Magleby's number is. There we go, 208-520-9400. The first person to text gets a cool FizzBiz mug. And what is this? Tell us about this.
I'll tell you the details. Yes. So we sell these in our shop. We have like a whole little retail section of things, but our logo mugs are our first thing that we've added. They're super fun. They're $25 value.
Yeah.
But you get your refills for $1.
Wow.
Your soda bases are $1. So you can bring this back anytime, and it just costs you $1 to get any Dr.
soda.
Pepper or Pepsi or whatever your jam is. Coke.
I love mine.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, we're thankful that Amy, you filled in for Brian today, and Becca,
great.
thanks for coming
Yeah.
all the way from Rigby to visit with us. We'll have to fill up your gas tank before you leave.
Oh,
probably.
right.
And I'm Tyler Price, and thanks for joining us here on Talking Business.
Bye.
Thank you.
The
Oh,
most
thumbs up.
powerful and influential form of communication is the story. When you understand somebody's story, you understand them on a deeper level, and then they become unforgettable. They may not need your service now, but when they do, they're going to remember you because they remember your story. My name's Tyson, and at Newline, my mission is to make your business unforgettable. I spent time around a lot of businesses that I have been amazed by their culture. I've been amazed by how they do their job, and I thought if only more people knew about this company. What would it be like if everybody within your audience had the opportunity to experience you, to experience what you do from the comforts of their own home where they don't feel like they're being sold to? I think what the coolest thing about video and marketing is that it provides sort of a proxy experience. Experience what it would be like to work with you. That's exactly what video can provide. I'm gonna come in and sit down with you, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna collaborate. We're gonna find out what's working for you, what's not working for you. And I'm gonna take the things that's working for you, I'm gonna make those things more accessible to more people in a more omnipresent space. Within the gears of a company, video has the potential to duplicate, automate, and replicate the fundamental elements, the fundamental drivers of your business, freeing you up so that you have more time that you can dedicate to things that are going to be more profitable for you. I think probably the biggest reason that people don't use video more, even though they know how well it works, is because stage fright. They hate being in front of the camera. So when I come to your office or you come into my studio, I try very hard to make the atmosphere lighthearted and humorous. And we're just gonna, we're gonna get work done, but we're gonna have fun with it.
He's made it enjoyable. We've had a lot of laughs on set in the studio. We're not comfortable sitting in front of a camera, and he makes it easy to do that. He takes our mistakes and our fumbling around and turns it into something that is just incredible.
All I want to do is take your influence and share it with more people. That's what video is for. Video is the last piece of the puzzle, but it's all you. If you're ready to know how video can benefit your business, fill out the form, brag about yourself. If I think that I'm going to be the best fit for you and that I can help you, then I will reach out very quickly.